good morning, no matter where you are in the world. Here we are, Flory Models live with you on the 27th of August. So we've got only a few more days left, which remind me to mention the actual group build ends on Tuesday.
All right, yeah.
Because
Okay.
I just remembered it. But anyway, good evening. Hopefully you're all doing very well. We can see everybody in live chat as always. Loads of you have actually just dumped in there. We've seen it was a bit quiet earlier, but it looks like lots of you are in there. As always, we're with you for the next sort of hour and a half or so to look at your great work, all the bits and pieces. Tonight I am joined by Mr. Ball again.
Hello.
2 days on the bell.
Evening. No, just.
Absolutely.
On your spoil.
That's it, been spoiled. And we've got John. All right, John, how's it going?
Hey.
Considering you said
Yeah,
your
fine,
internet
thank you.
playing up, you're absolutely crystal clear tonight.
Good. I just hope my internet stays safe because the weather out is atrocious.
Yes.
It's been blowing a gale and raining all day down here, so I'm just drying out now.
I must admit, I didn't think of you at all, but I should have done because, as I say, it was about midday, between midday and 2 here. The rain was so heavy, it was like 3 inches sheet water going down the road. It was like it, but it was for 2 hours. Like usually you get heavy rain for 10 minutes. You don't get it for hours on end. No wonder the roads all flooded round here. But I should have thought of you out and about, John, but I didn't, so it's all right.
Yeah, I bet you did, and I bet you were smiling while you were thinking.
No, I didn't. I didn't even give you a thought. Bless. But anyway, hopefully all the rest of you are all very dry. Obviously, thoughts going out to our colonial friends over in the States. Hopefully you guys are all staying safe out there and you haven't been totally blown away. Me and Matt were just discussing the newsreader who was on the TV this morning who was doing it on one leg because he was being
Literally,
blown around.
he was just
It's like this,
hanging
wasn't
on.
it? He's hanging on for dear life. That guy deserves a pay rise. Mind you, that's probably what John looked like this afternoon.
It was, yeah. Hanging off a lamppost.
So yeah, he's hanging up to a lamppost with the water going past. But yes, but stay safe out there, everybody. Remember, don't be near rivers or cliffs or anything else like that. Otherwise, you'll definitely be washed away. Anyway, yes, so we'll be looking at your good work in a moment, obviously answering your questions. But first of all, what have you been up to? John, we'll start with you. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been, for your VC10,
Oh, thank you.
the Phantom's coming along nicely.
That's a funny-looking Phantom.
I thought that, as I was putting it together, I thought, oh, this looks more like a Harrier.
It sort of does, yes. What happened to the Phantom?
It was zapping his mojo.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
your mojo big time.
Right.
And I was struggling a bit anyway.
To be honest with you, one of my reference photos I was using actually did have a GR3 hanging off the back of it, so that's quite apt. I have to dig the photos out again that I was using, but it's got a GR3 hanging off the back of it.
Oh, that's good.
So
But yeah, Matt sent me down this one, and I've built the GR1 version. It's a gem of a kit.
yeah,
Goes together nice and easy. So I'm doing that in the Falkland scheme with the wraparound camo.
to be honest with you, watch this space because as soon as we can get our hands on the Kinetic one GR3, that's what I was going to do as well, to do the Falklands GR3 with a full wraparound camo and that. So yes,
Yeah, it just looks cool, doesn't it?
it is a cool scheme. It's very, very nice indeed. So good. And Matt, you've been busy.
I have actually. Hold on, let me stick my overhead on. And I'll tell you what I've been doing. Apart from putting photos up,
Yes,
now I've mastered photo, whatever it is.
that's it. Now he's
Oh,
spamming
snap.
the forum.
Yeah, I'm going to. He's going to get proper spammed. So obviously I finished my little off track, which I put a photo up as a bit of a teaser. And remember the wall that I painted?
Yes.
Well, that's going to be the backdrop for the vignette. And I started on a figure.
Very nice.
There we go. So we are starting basing him up. And in between that, I have been
Is that
doing
Captain
this.
Scarlet?
What, the figure?
If you did him with a black cap, he'd look like Captain,
Yeah.
a tunic on there in the, was it maroon? He'd look like Captain Scarlet.
It would, yeah. That's where they must have modelled him off the dragon when they did him. And I've also been doing this for the Luftwaffe SIG.
Oh, the par.
Which is a BO105, which is the Hornet version, which I think of, oh my god, the trouble I've had fitting this glass part on this week has been unreal. I was just saying to you yesterday, wasn't I? I've been building the worst two manufacturers I hate. So I've done an Italy kit, which I'm not a fan of, and I'm doing a Rebel kit. That
I know, you're doing very well.
I don't know what I've come over me, to be honest, but
We know this is why he's psyching himself up to get on with the Argosy.
I am. That's it. I'm just, yeah.
He's now into the thing of how worse can it get.
Exactly, because that's coming up soon. Dog with a kit in it.
I think so. Yes, some point in the future.
It's the next SIG, is it soon? And it's the last SIG of the year.
It is.
Andy was saying to me earlier, so
I know, it's crazy how fast they've all gone.
Yeah, it
isn't
starts next week, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts Tuesday. Yeah.
it's mad, isn't it? So yeah, that's what I've been up to. So plodding along. I've been having a bit of a mojo dip as well, to be honest.
Yes.
Lately, but you just got to power through it, ain't you?
Yeah, I tell you, it's funny. Everyone should just go out and build these because it literally just goes together. You sort of blink and it's done. And I put some, like yesterday was on it quite a bit, and then this afternoon I was on with this one. And if I wasn't stopping for doing a few other bits and pieces I had to do today, I would have had this fully painted and probably deckled. So I still maintain you could put this together comfortably, you say, in like maybe 3-4 evenings. That's all it'd really take onto it. But again, as I say, a bit of a thirst with this one. Obviously, the kit we know is very, very nice. There's a few little fit issues which we've spoken about during the build. But today I've been using the AK real colours for the first time. Obviously, we used the armour ones, which are a bit flat, and these ones are obviously a bit more satin. I love the colour, and we were discussing it just before we came on air. The paint is absolutely gorgeous. It's very thick. It's got very, very good coverage on it. And you use hardly any. And I know, obviously, we're dealing a lot smaller than normal. I've been using this thing as sort of reference as well. But literally, it seemed to be just the paint's got fantastic coverage. So you hardly use any paint. That's the thing to it. So you just sort of spray it on and it's covered it all in one. So, but very, very nice indeed. And it's just drying back now. It's all ready to be masked up tomorrow. We'll get the camo work onto it as we go through. But again, it's just very, very nice. And it's one of those builds, like we're saying with the Mojo one, I haven't had a stumbling block. It's not like something you come across and you thought, oh bollocks, that's gone wrong, or that's going to take time to dry, or you've got to do filler, because you're not, and it's straight in. You just like bomp, 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 away you go. I was doing the prop early, whatever I've done with it, and that's like sort of 5 or 6 parts just for the prop. With Airfix it's like one. With this thing, even though it's in 70-second, you've got each blade, then you've got like the hub, which would be, suppose, the gearbox for it. You've got the spinner and 2 plates behind it to go in to make all the parts up. So again, very, very nice. But yes, it's quite nice to work on something where you don't come up with a problem that sort of, zaps your mojo. And I think that's what it is. A lot of the trouble with mojo is you know when you're coming into your modelling room, isn't it? And then you've got to tackle something. Either filler, sanding, rescribing, re-riveting, or it's a seam and like tonight you've got to try and get it together. And I think that's the problem. When you're into that, it's the last thing and you think, I can't be bothered being polite. Yes.
I think modern 70-second scale kits are ideal mojo restorers, aren't they? Because, they go together fairly well and fairly easy. Like you say, a couple of evenings.
You've got progress.
Yeah,
you can see it sort of coming together.
Yeah,
that's it. And I think that's the thing as well, is that from a mojo point of view, is that it's where you're not seeing the progress, is it? It's that bit where you don't seem to be getting anywhere. Like the VC10, the filler work and all the rest of it, you need to do it 3 or 4 times. All right, maybe 6 or 7 was getting a bit over the top for it, but you do. But sometimes you can be doing quite a small job and it should be a straightforward job, and it turns into a lot more, and that can really zap your mojo, especially when it should be straightforward and it's not for whatever reason, be it the kit or user error. It's one of those ones where very, very quickly it can become a real chore. And then we're always into that thing, especially, obviously most of us do it. You put YouTube on or something and you're sat there watching YouTube for the entire evening instead of modelling. So very quickly it's like, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow night. And then you come back and do it all over again. So, yes, definitely. Yes. But hopefully that little guy, he'll be well on the way. Really enjoying that one. So that's good. Also, just up today, whilst I mention it, the review of the Tempest Mark V, which isn't 148. I don't know why. I changed it, and then I uploaded it to YouTube, Facebook, and it won't change it. but it's changed it everywhere else. So I don't know why it's doing it. But anyway, it is 1/48 scale. Beautiful, beautiful detail on that kit. Very, very nice. And if you watch the review, you'll see you can get a load of aftermarket for it, which goes on and beyond what you got with the Royal version and the Profi pack, because you can get the engine for it now and all the gun bays and the wheels. It's all browsing and brass sets for it and everything. So you can make your mind up how you want that one. But again, that's up with you to have a look at. Really, really nice kit. Again, very much Edard, as in surface detail. All that riveting is gorgeous. Very nice indeed.
Good.
So yes, very good. Right, should we have a look at somebody's great builds?
You can do, yeah.
Brace
You
yourself. Right, okay, so
Brace yourself.
in here, hold on, I've got to try and just work something out. One moment, everybody. I've done something in here and I just need to do that. Oh, there we go. Right, okay, that's how we do it. Right, okay, so let me get rid of that because you guys don't need to see that. So, first up, we have something a little bit different that took our eye this week, didn't it, guys?
Look, Blum and Boss.
It is. We were saying it's got a very nice smoky camo system onto this one with the blotchy stuff all over it.
That's very nice.
So,
That is, yeah.
this is the thing. Great stuff. The model's fantastic. Don't get us wrong and all the rest of it. What does me is the amount of drag that these things have, which are we sure or were you guys winding me up that these are supposed to be for patients?
I think they're trying to wind you up, mate. I think they're
Right. So
Yeah.
are they supposed to be radiators? Like seriously?
They are radiators, aren't they?
radiators, yeah.
Right. So the thing is, my point is, how much drag does that make before they get up to altitude, and how inefficient must the radiator and cooling system be to be that big?
I don't know.
Just.
I don't think it ever got off the paper, did it, that thing?
Oh, is it just a total whiffy job?
I think so.
I think, yes. Is it a Luftwaffe 46 job? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it says at the top, it says Love 46.
It's a paper plane, isn't it? It was.
Oh, right.
Because they used to build them asymmetrical aeroplanes, didn't they?
Yes.
With the engines one side, the canopies on the other, and weird looking
Yeah.
ugly things, Blum and Boss. And I think they did some flying boats as well, I think. So,
They did, yes. Yeah.
yeah. So, is that the special lobby kit then?
That is the special lobby.
Yeah.
So the second one.
Second special lobby kit.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's come out. That's
I have
nice
to say-
desert camo. I like that. Or
It is, and it's got a shark's mouth on it as well, so that gets a bonus
Yeah.
point. And it is
Yeah.
a very, very interesting scheme
So-
on that one.
So I take it then, with the big radiators and the long wingspan, it was supposed to be high altitude.
Yes, if it could
Yes.
ever get there.
Yes, obviously. Okay, fair enough.
Very nice. So something a little bit different. Always nice to
It
see
is actually,
different.
yeah, it's nice that.
Very nice. Okay, so over here we've got Aliens, which is Rob's one.
Oh look, a drop ship. God,
Drop ship.
You know how much they fetch?
I do.
Priceless.
It's not a brilliant kit either, is it?
Oh, it's horrible
Rubbish.
kit. It's total crap. It's like Mattel.
Yeah.
It's awful, the kit.
But yeah, I thought Rob's done quite a good job on that.
No, he
Done a
has.
cracking job that.
Yeah, because he's done all the lighting on it and all the bits and pieces as well. It's not an easy kit. I've seen people actually scratch build these now. It's better to scratch build it almost than it is to try and use the kit. Because it
Cheaper
is
as well.
probably, yeah, a lot cheaper. But if you look online, some guys have like scratch built these in various scales and they look amazing because the kit is just awful. So
Do you know Avatar film? Did they nick the idea for their stuff from Aliens? Do you think? Because it's very similar, isn't it?
it is very similar, yeah. Avatar, I think we're going down with like their quadcopter. A lot of people were saying
Yeah.
it's a cross between Thunderbird 2,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a giant quadcopter. So yes, it is that type of thing with the tails though and all the bits on there.
That's a cool looking craft though, isn't it? It was,
You know the little helicopter in that, the little one that they zip round in, an Avatar.
Yeah.
That little gunship thing. Some guy built a big radio controlled one of them, and it flies and works. It's very good. So it makes you wonder if you could upscale it and all the rest of it. So yeah, no, it's a good one. So yes, very nice job on that one, Rob. As I say, it's not an easy kit to work with, and as you say, it's one of those where I don't think, honestly, trying to go over the top and to do various things to scratch build and improve it it's going to help, because it is clunky as hell. It's not like you can see from the clear parts, which aren't clear.
Frosted glass, that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's it. It's obviously steamed up.
you can blame it on the atmosphere. Of
Actually, that must be the scene where the alien's in the cockpit whipping it round, and that's guts and stuff all over the windows.
That's wicked.
It's going to
Yeah.
crash in a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. There's the lights. Get it lit up. There we go.
Cool. No, he's done a cracking job of that. Like I say, it's not a great kit, so well done for.
Yes, perseverance.
Getting through
That
it.
must have sapped the mojo. The bit
Still
where you
got-
get it out of the box and you realise what you bought.
Yeah.
So yes, congratulations. Very nice job on that one, Rob. Okay, next up we've got something a little bit different. Actually, I saw this one as well this morning. So Ian's done a beautiful job on this one.
Well, that's realistic. I can't
I
believe
tell
how
you,
realistic
it's great
that is.
using
Look.
sepia. But
Look
hold
there.
on, because he's actually has done it. Look, in
Yeah.
colour,
I seen it earlier. It's really good.
very very colour. Yeah, I think he needs to relax a bit there on the Bren.
No, he's on it.
He calm down.
He's ready.
Get your hand off the trigger. So yes, he's on the pull clearly.
Obviously.
He's trying to give her a bar of chocolate, is he? Terrible.
So always trying
Can I have a kiss, lady? So yes, but no, very very good with that. Very nice with the figures. You know, obviously it's telling the story and all the rest of it, but like we say, it's nice weathering on the figures as well. Very nice,
Yes.
all in all.
Good
And also, it's quite nice that nothing's actually hanging. You know, it's just got normal sort of road type weathering onto this one. We're assuming it's latter war, aren't we, in the various things? So
Yes, I don't know where the photo were taken, to be honest. It says it Normandy or somewhere like
I
that.
don't know.
It looks that sort of time scale.
I wonder if he's saying, "For you, the war is over," in a Brummy accent.
Could turn into an episode of Hello Hello this.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what you need, isn't it? A French policeman.
He did need the French policeman.
Yeah, he
He's
should
that
have had the
master,
French policeman
master
there.
box set, doesn't he? Oh, mini art, that's it, the mini art set
Yeah,
with the
the
French
mini art
civilian.
one.
You can get, yeah.
You should have had the hello hello set.
You get Crabtree, is it?
That's it. Yeah, Crabtree.
I say, well, I've been watching repeats of that on Gold or something. It's been
Oh
on
my
this
lord. To be
I don't-
honest, Vicky Michelle, she's not looking as good these days.
But
Those
surprised.
fags and red wine are not doing her any favours.
surprised they still allowed to show it.
Oh, so she well, you wait, it'll be pulled at some point.
Not censored or something.
Anyway, very, very nice job on that one, Ian. Very nice little diorette as well. It's quite nice that it's on the flat when you can see everything that's going on nice with it as well. So, again, very, very good job on that one. Definitely. Okay. Next up, we've got a 1-to-1 scale conversion from Barry, who's been working. Obviously, he's taken some time and he's stolen a load of EasyJet paint.
Easy
so-
orange.
EasyJet Orange, we reckon this is. But no, he's done an absolutely stunning job of converting his garage into his new man cave.
That is
Okay.
nice, isn't it? Puts our sheds to shame on that, doesn't it? I think I need a splash of orange in here now.
That's it. You need a bit of colour in there,
Just-
you two. You're just
I need-
white and everything. At least I've got black.
I need a feature wall or
Yeah,
something.
that's it. Very nice. Very
That's a
good.
nice space, isn't it? You wouldn't want to go inside, would you?
You wouldn't want to
Just
use
a
it, would
sofa
you?
bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to dirty it up. Definitely not. I wouldn't want to build anything.
To be honest, it's very reminiscent. If it was like the blue background, thinking about it, of my dentist.
Not even colour coordinated files.
I know, look. The OCD knows no limits in here, I'll tell you.
That's just really nice. They've really done a good job of that.
It is. Very, very nice job in there. And again, getting your tank out of the way and all the rest of it and boxing it in with some styrene like this and all the rest of it and some foam is what I've done as well, and it works. So it cuts down all the vibration and the noise, and you think mine is right underneath my camera and you can't hear it. Well, I know you can hear it a bit, but nothing compared to what it would be. So nice little job in there. And they never get too warm. I know a lot of people say about them getting warm, but they're fine.
Hey, just talking about compressors. When I've got to work my old Revell one, okay,
Yeah.
I've had to put it in an old box, right? Reason being is I've topped the oil up, but completely overfilled it with oil, right? And it's spitting oil out all over the
So
place.
it's spitting oil,
It really
nice.
is. Every time it sort of, it's one of them that if it pressures up, it'll release itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time, obviously, if you're not using it, it's running. It's just literally spitting oil out everywhere. think I really need to invest in another compressor for work, I think.
Bless. Look, one little thing I've spotted here, I didn't spot it earlier. Look, we've got a coffee machine with the pods. See?
Oh God, that's posh. That's
Good.
Andy to shame as well, isn't it?
That's it. Andy, you wait. Andy's now on Amazon looking.
Coffee envy.
Coffee envy. He's got his coffee machine downstairs. He needs one in the actual man cave now, so that's it.
He
So,
does
yes.
indeed. I've got a kettle. Does that count?
Again. That's it. It's very nice. And we were admiring these. Obviously, box art from Great Wall Hobbies.
Oh yeah, are they the pictures you used to get in them then? Because
Or
the early ones you used to get a picture, didn't you?
it was always on the first releases, wasn't it? You used to get the pictures inside, but I don't know if he's done that or done a John and just had the box tops and framed them. There you go, John. You need to frame yours now.
That's
I'm
it.
going to have to, aren't I?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But yeah, nice bit of neon. See, we like a bit of neon.
Very
The Eagles.
Hotel California, is that what it says?
Hey,
It is, yeah, it is Hotel California.
it is, yeah, absolutely.
And he's going to play on guitar look and do the long solo in the middle.
Absolutely. Yes, it's the big one. Very nice, but that's a very, very cool makeover, and now we're all put to shame. My one, to be honest, looks like a complete crap hole at the moment. So that's it now. I feel I need to go around and do it and sort it out.
I'm inspired if we ever move.
Yes, this is it. I think, if you do move, I think this is where you should set your bar. This is it.
I think the bar's set very high, really,
is.
with that, isn't it? But, yeah.
How long before he ditches the guitars for a couple of big scale bombers, though?
Well, this is it. I think in here, definitely, you could get, I reckon, if you slightly staggered them, the B-52, the Bear, would fit in there. They would get them in there, be fine. And then on the other side, you can get then B-17s and stuff, so you'd be fine. Very nice. Because they just fit straight on there. It's great. No problem at all. Very good.
Yeah.
But no, fantastic job on that one. Very nice indeed. Okay, last up, just something we happened to notice purely because he's obviously figured out how to put a photo on the site.
Oh, I don't know who's done that.
A very dodgy Tamiya M51 Super Sherman. You may have spotted this hanging off the back of the reveal video from the other day. After I got the photo after re-editing it. But we can actually see it.
Age 46 3/4.
Exactly. He's that, yeah.
Very nice indeed. Look, we can properly see it now.
It is. Now I know how to do it properly, then yes, I can actually post up and
You can put photos up,
participate.
Yes.
So yes, thanks for showing that.
That's it. Bless. Well, we had to, seeing it's the first one you put up. I wasn't going to let that one
It's got to be
slip.
the first one in God knows how long they've actually have put up, innit?
Well, it
yes.
isn't like this big. Oh, hold on. I've lost you. Hold on. Don't panic, everyone. There they are. They're back.
Yeah.
They are back. So, yes. So, congratulations to everybody and to Matt and for Man Cave. So, that's it. Everybody this weekend will be clearing out their Man Cave, putting some feature walls in.
Well, hey, we've got Skip coming tomorrow. I can soon get round with this place into
The
shape.
trouble with skips is they fill up far too quickly. Before you know it, it's like, that's it.
I tell you what, Lydia's going to come back from her nana's tomorrow and wonder where all the toys are.
She'll be skip diving. Can't have that. I'm having this out.
She'll be ringing child thingy, whatever it is, child line.
Yeah, child line. She'll be on the phone to Esther. My daddy's thrown away all my toys.
Yeah. All my clutter.
Bless. Right, okay, shall we start on the old questions?
Yes. Why not?
Right, I've just got to find that. That's in here somewhere. Right, hold on. That's in here. Then that has to go there for a sec. That has to go like that because we don't want that. Okay, and questions for the team. Some of these ones, obviously, guys, I have pulled them around a little bit and purely changed them over. Only so, obviously, we answered some of the questions yesterday on the Tuesday show, so I'll fill in the blanks, let's just say, on that one as we make our way through. Right, hold on just a second, everybody. I just need to going to just work this in because I'm actually a monitor short at the moment. So if I just go like that, okay, then hopefully this won't affect anyone if I do that. There you go, it works. I'm amazed. Okay, so first question is a question for Matt. You're up. Okay, I'm curious about the cost of shipping the Tamiya LP colours to the States. These colours are unavailable here in the States until later this year. I've got the new Honda motorcycle and like to try the LP range that Phil is raving about. What do we reckon?
Well, best thing to do is actually just put them in the basket and go to checkout, and it will give you the price of the postage.
Yes.
So the colours you want, because it should be just a flat rate anyway. Depending, obviously our system goes off weight, so it's how many paints you order as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you're ordering the full range, it's obviously going to be a lot more than ordering 6. So literally just put them in your basket, go to checkout, and then it will give you the price of postage.
It's a bit weird, isn't it, how the LP range have taken so long, because they've been around, I think, now 3 years since originally I got them. They came here about a year ago, 2 years ago, and then they've been extending the range.
Yeah. I think it's health and safety stuff with the States, isn't it? There's got to be something to do with all that, I reckon, or probably labelling, or I don't know. But yeah, it does seem to have taken a long time for them to get it.
Yes.
So, yeah. Don't know. Oh, can't answer from their point, but yeah.
Sorted. Okay. Trevor says, I have a follow-up question from yesterday, not being able to spray the Tamiya LP range. Is that the one we did last week? Oh yeah, sorry. I took your advice and gave it a good clean out. Looks like there was residue on the edge of my colour cup from pouring paint over the years. Okay. Why have you not cleaned your colour cup? You know, let's face it. I know I'm not the best one in the world, but it's in. It's in, you know, around here. The thing is, like I've always said, with all cleaning your airbrushes, even on the outside and everything, one, it's good husbandry to go around and keep it all nice and clean anyway. But also, if you get like colour build up around the top, if anything falls in, a bit like your lid, if you don't clean your lid and make sure, you might have a bit, and when you take it off, you get a small lump that could be dry and crispy, but when it falls in, it will go soft. But if it gets down to the nozzle, it'll block. So that definitely would be something to worry about. But I think just going around and generally giving your airbrush a bit of a spruce up after each use isn't a bad thing.
Oh God, no. No,
So,
keep it clean.
Keep it nice and clean. Do you keep yours clean, John?
Yes. You spend a lot of money on your airbrush. They're a lifetime investment, hopefully. So just, you know,
Look after it.
look after it.
And it'll look after you.
Yeah. Definitely.
This is my airbrush. There's many like it. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you could run that and just dub over it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
He says, as for the rough finish, I appreciated by playing with acrylics, and I think that the lacquer was eating and giving it a messy finish. Again, I've done it on this. I've gone one over the other, and it is that thing, you know, if you flood lacquer paints with like a 50-50 mix or anything else like that over acrylics, and it's sitting on it looking wet for more than, I would say, you know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it's now going down and eating. And what it will do is activate whatever's underneath. And if you have got black underneath and stuff like that, it will make its way to the top. And that's one of the questions I was talking about on Tuesday, is you get like whelks and various things popping up, and it might separate the paint and stuff, but it's just where it is literally too thick. If you're going over something that's completely dry, it's a couple of layers down, you'll be fine. But if it's just one that's happened to be sitting there and lacquer's on top, that can actually wreck it.
Just another thing though, while you're on that, don't forget you can flat your paint in between coats. You know, in between. If it's a bit rough, you can always just nib it off, as I call it, to make it smooth, and then paint over it. I've done it no end with it from an helicopter with a primer.
Yeah.
Because you know, and I'll do it when I paint it, because you know you're going to get rough spots, especially with, you know, in wing vortexes and all the odd bits where
it catches it. Yeah.
It catches it. Yeah, and dry spots, especially. I had it all in this bit here. Just rub it down. I've just, to be honest, Phil, remember then?
Stop it.
Yes.
Be the bloody
very useful.
Polish is coming back. It'd be them next. Funny enough, it broke me. I had to put the order in for the next 6 months for the sanders.
Well, obviously, like Tamiya do theirs as well, and you can buy commercial ones. 3M do them, and Mercer and a few others. But this one's 1,000 and stuff, and they're ideal for just in between coats of paint. For just bin them off And, it's
And
not
also,
like
like, you know, to be
as
honest,
well.
I often talk about using our green and white ones are great for doing that type of work. But like Matt's got the sponge sheet version of the normal blue sander. The blue sander, when they get old, don't throw them because they are great for doing little jobs like taking off texture off a paint. You know, weathering and sanding that back decals because they've got hardly any bite to them, but there's still enough on there to do, you know, what you need in those type particular environments. And because the blue one's a little bit softer than even the black polisher, which is like 1200 on that, but that's quite a hard one, whereas obviously this one is fabric based, so it is on the surface of it.
The thing is with like them, like you've just said, the sponge ones is because you're not doing it to get sort of rid of seam lines and stuff. You're just doing it to flatten your paintwork.
Yes.
So you're gaining all the nooks and crannies and stuff, and you know, and just taking the tops off it really to make it smooth. That's all you're doing. So, you know, you don't want to obliterate detail or anything. So worn sanding sticks are ideal.
Yeah, I always say don't throw away your old sanders and stuff like that. Don't forget, if you got any of my ones, the Flory ones, they're all washable. So just bung them in a bowl with some, you know, washing up liquid and give them a squeeze and rinse them all out, and then just let them dry naturally, and then just keep them for, you know, those types of jobs. To be honest, I've got a drawer full down there of old knackered ones, but they come in handy for various jobs.
They do.
Okay, Joanne says, hi all, when will there be an armour video build again? That will not be long. I am doing the Abrams in probably, I will be starting it next month. Plan of action's literally, this thing will be done, well, by Monday. I'll be out of the way and done like that. Going to start on the Hellcat and then obviously going to be into the Abrams as we're making our way through. So that's the plan. And then obviously I've got group build ones and things like that coming along as we make our way through the, third part of the year. I tend to do it in thirds, so we're into the final stages for this year. So yes, that's the thing with that one. So watch this space, it is on its way. Krista's done a fantastic, how do I do this again? That's it, hold on, we have to go like that. There we go. There you go, there's the medal with his one, giving you a very good size comparison for people who didn't realise. Remember that one?
That's tiny, isn't it? It's really small.
So,
unless it's got a really big medal.
Yeah, and that medal's 3 foot tall. So yes, give you a bit of a size thing on that. Very good indeed. Very, very nice. So congratulations, Krista. Angus says, hi all, I've just got a little question about the finish I get on a model. As a little side project, I've been working on the new Airfix MiG-17 in 1/72. I'm planning on doing in the Vietnamese scheme with the camouflage on the top, I assume is a metal underside. Yes. It just seems like there would be quite a stark contrast between the natural metal and the satin camo, especially in the relatively small scale. So I was hoping for some advice giving this good in scale finish. John, you're an expert on this, Comrade Buller.
I knew that was coming.
Well, anything that's like that way, if it's got MiG or Sukhoi in it, it's you.
I'm trying to think what colour is it.
Spotty
It's
one,
probably
isn't
the one where they just sort of spray those green lines over the top.
It could be, yeah.
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 I'm guessing that's the scheme he's on about.
See, I do believe the MiG-17s, not well, anyone ever admits these, but actually were Russian ones, weren't they? That I think were sent down, and then they were piloted probably by Russians as well, and all stuff like that. So the camo might have been put in situ on those. I know some of the schemes that the Vietnamese ones were put on when they were there, because in Russia they would have just been silver, and they sprayed over them when they got down there. But again, in 72nd, it's small scale, so it's very difficult to be able to do anything, you know, like faded or worn or anything else like that, because it is so small. You've only got a very, very small edge to play with. You know, if you're dealing with like a 32nd, you've got a couple of mil to fade in and to weather and feather edges. But then obviously when you get to 48, you're getting smaller. And on this one, it's a classic example. It's going to look like a hard edge type camos onto it, purely because from a scale point of view, you wouldn't see any different, I don't think.
But
I would definitely go lacquers with it. I wouldn't try doing it with acrylics, because you want to be using a low air pressure.
Yeah.
and get in tight with your airbrush. With that sort of scheme, I take the cap off the end of the airbrush as well, the needle guard.
Yeah, so you get nice and
get
close.
right in close.
But the thing is, when you're talking about obviously from the camo to say the metal underside and all the rest of it, I would literally either use a tack worm and put that on, and that's your edge, and probably be the easiest way, or just tape. You know, when I did this one, if I remember rightly, even on here, it's quite a sharp edge, and I just put tape onto it, but it doesn't detract from it at all, because it would be quite a sharp edge on there. On the wings, you can just shoot across, so when you're spraying it, you come to here, you just shoot, and then that way you get a faded edge anyway. But when you're dealing with body areas and stuff and trying to get them to fade without being, you know, getting brought round and all the rest of it, you need some type of tape. So I would say either tack worm it, so you just, because it's going to be minute, just take white tack, do it quite thin, nice little rolls like this, and then if you're going to go between the front and back, you just place it on there. You know, I assume you're going to do all the silver work first and then put the camo on afterwards, and then just tack it with tack worms as well. You won't get any residue marks from it either. So that's the nice thing with that one.
Day when, like you said, when they painted it, it wouldn't have been sort of done with slide rules or anything like that. It would have been pretty rough and ready anyway.
That's it. I think. Go on.
Do you know he's on about the camo on the top? Well, won't it'll all be metal anyway? It's and they just put the green on top of the metal, didn't they?
Yeah.
So is he on about the stock colour of the green to the metal? Is that what he's on about?
Yeah, I think he's on about the demarcation between the metal camo area and the green and stuff.
But I mean, is he on about the green being going to be too bright compared to the metal, and he wants to tone the green down? Because if he does, then just add some flesh to it.
Yes.
Which you won't wash it out. Don't add white. Just do not add white, because that will
just add a little bit of yellow.
A bit of yellow or flesh is brilliant for like lightening up greens and stuff, because it don't desaturate the colour, but it will lighten it to put it back into scale. So if that's what he means in that respect, I'm just reading through the question again just to see, you know. But again, like you lot said, it's just I'd do it with lacquers with a cap off it as close as you can get. You're looking at what you'd be doing like mottling on German Luftwaffe, aren't you?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, let us know how you get on.
Be fun.
And what paint you're using.
Yes. Okay, Graham says, Phil, a little while back you had some reviews to do. I believe that there was a book on a Hellcat. Did you ever review it? Yeah, I did it as when we was on a show. I've still got it here somewhere. Hold on, where is it?
You can dig it out for your next build.
Well, this is it. To be honest, I am. And you know what? I can't find it. Here it is.
Hey, now we've just reminded him that he's got it, John.
Yes. Here we go. That's the one. To be honest, I think we did it on one of the, I don't know if it was a Tuesday show or something else like that. But yes, it's very nice. I will do a proper review, I think, on it though, because Richard said I could keep it. So I better do him umbrage for that one. So, because again, it was on a loan thing, and then I've been said, oh, you can keep that one. So I probably will. But I was planning on using it as sort of a thing for when I was doing my Hellcat as well. I know it's a slightly different version, I think, on that one, but it's got all the different versions in there, so that'd be cool. So anyway, it will be coming along soon. I might try and do that next week.
Really, is that a case of you've read the book that long now that it's more yours than his?
Well, it was supposed to go back because it was only a loan one. And then I did get a message from Mr. Frank saying, you're okay, you can keep it. So I was like, okay.
They are good books. I got the Stuka version, and this, it's a brilliant book.
Yes, we will. We'll go through it. I'll tell you what, I'll do it with next week when we start with the Hellcat and everything, so I'll be using it as reference for that anyway. I have a small problem with some decals though. I'm building a 72nd Spitfire. I was putting on the upper wing roundel. I had a problem getting them to bed down. I gently pinpricked the area that was not bedding down, and after 3 applications of microcell, I still have a few spots where it won't bed down. Would you suggest X20A? Yes. Because I like X20A because it's the next one on, as in strength wise. to using everything else. But again, it depends on what you painted it with. Don't forget, if you've used Tamiya paints with it or acrylics, X28 is a thinner. So if you're going to brush it over, brush once and that's it. Because if you go back over it, you're going to have paint everywhere. Okay, so it's fine to do it on that one and go through. But again, if you've got like a riveting wheel, it doesn't even have to be a good one. And then just as I say, just keep tapping at it and going at it, releasing the air and let it go through and everything else like that.
I've been using X28.
Yeah. To be honest, for years and years and years, I never used any setting solutions. I just literally used X28 for everything, you know?
And also extra thin, to be honest.
But that's proper, That's last resort stuff, that is.
Yeah, but it works, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, absolutely, it's fantastic. But again, don't brush it twice, because it'll just eat your decal instantly.
Dab it and leave it, and it'll never come off again.
No, once it's on, that is it. You'll never be repositioning it, put it like that.
Yeah.
But try X28 first, see how you get on with that.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things. Decals, sometimes they can take just time to go. So keep going at it, and then eventually they will usually give up and go through it like that. Alan says, following on from the news that not unexpected cancellation of Scale Model World, what are the team going to be doing on the 7th and 8th of November? They'll be working still.
Nothing. We're doing nothing. We're going to put our feet up and have the weekend off.
That sounds good.
That's it.
Nothing at all. You're not going to see us, hear from us or anything. We're not on.
No, we are planning on doing something a little bit special. So we will be hopefully keeping you all entertained and going. We're going to be doing something from 10, I think, till sort of 4 every day. And as I say, it probably won't be doing anything in the evenings because we'll need a bit of a break as well. But definitely during the days. And as I said before, PM and Flory Models, obviously, from a business side of it as well, we'll be doing various specials, deals, flash sales, auctioning John, I don't know, Andy, if he's well.
Yeah. You can buy Andy for a day.
Yeah, you can rent Andy for a day. You won't get much out of him, but you can do that one. So yes, again, we are planning on doing it, but as I said, there's lots of stuff happening on the internet all over. Some of them will probably be involved with other things as well, all at the same time. I'm not sure how it's going to work yet, but we'll sort something out. Again, the trade has already spoken about this because we were convinced it wasn't going to happen anyway. So, but anyway, it is done and dusted. But we'll all be here in spirit still.
Yeah, we will. Welcome to the future, eh?
That's it. Yeah, everything's fine. Okay, Dino says, read Das work, just to add to my above. That's because we answered his question on yesterday's show. And the question was, where's Das Works gone? Because they vanished. And we pointed out that a lot of their kits are Reeboxes.
Yeah.
And obviously, when it's a Reebox, they only get so many. And that's it. And also, Das Works is a relatively small company in the great scheme of them, and probably doesn't have massive production runs. So could be like that. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says, Das work kit I had in mind was actually one of their own. It was the Fawn L900 truck in 135th. As far as I can gather, this was an original release with the tank transporter trailer, which I managed to pick up because they released it separately. And they're supposedly releasing a standalone hardtop version of the truck kit, but haven't seen it anywhere yet. Along with the release of the standalone version with the new trailer too. Have their Panther and King Tiger Blitz kits already, and I've started the Panther and I'm really enjoying putting it together. Again, Dino, it might be a thing as well with Das Works, is that if they obviously have to have a company injection mold, they don't have their own, so the slots might be all over the place. So they might have been put back 3-6 months, you never know, so that may be where that's gone. You know, as I say, it's funny because some of the big companies even we deal with dried up and now they seem to be coming back. So again, it seems to be about right. If you look at timeline, most, let's face it, injection molding these days is either in China or India. So both of those, you know, sort of coming slowly back online.
Really, then you want to move to like the Ukraine or Poland because they seem to churn them out, don't they?
Yes, never a problem coming from there, is it?
Yeah, there is. There's loads, isn't there? So, yes. Yeah, it's probably not been released, like Phil's just said. To be honest, it's not available yet. So, I'm sure it will be soon.
Soon. Grant says, hello team. I saw on Edard's Facebook page a while back that they're going to do the Hawker Hurricane in the future. Wow, that'd be nice. I haven't seen that. They're with their reputation for fine detail. It's all right, Hurricane, it's fabric, apart from the wings, I suppose, but the body. Sorry, with the great kits, would you like to see them make it? I would love it. I think we were discussing this as part of me and Matt yapping the other day. The Hurricane is a very, very under-produced and manufactured and released kit. I don't know why, especially in the larger scales, like 48s and obviously the 32nds of this world. It's just, there's none. Well, apart from Fly.
Well, the Fly one in 32nd and a really old Revell one that's just
from the 70s, isn't it?
Don't be near it. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? To be honest, why it is so under represented.
We'd love them to do the P47. Thing is, Tamiya's done that, and it's like quite a definitive one. It is a good one. Also, they're doing a limited edition 48 scale Trumpeter MiG-19 boxing, so we've got a limited run from that. Have you seen anything about this? Like what the markings will be? To be honest, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah,
that's the October release, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going up on pre-order. Andy's either done it today or he's about to do it now.
Is he doing it as we speak?
Yeah, it's they're doing the check ones, aren't they, John? It's all check markings for the MiG-19. Looks nice. Looks be a nice kit. Not too expensive. I think it's about 36 quid or something. I think somewhere around that price.
I have my eye on it.
Well,
yeah,
of course you have.
Course
Comrade Buller will have it.
Especially in the check schemes, because they always do really nice.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, with the Tamiya, Tamiya, with the sort of Trumpeter and with everything that Edard have done for them, with all the aftermarket bits, it's going to be something quite tasty, I should think.
And I do like the MiG-19 for some reason. Out of all the MiGs, I do like the 19. Weirdly enough.
Okay, Andy says, hi team. First, thanks again for the speedy delivery of my order from PM.
You're welcome.
Well done, Matt.
Thank
my
you.
Question is, what Tamiya acrylic do you use for interior or internal green? They've got one that's called internal green.
Oh, Tamiya?
Cockpit green. There you go. That's what I tend to use. I know it's like Imperial Japanese Navy, but it's not a million miles away from the RAF internal green.
Well, what about if it's on about US Air Force green?
Well, I don't know. You
I
didn't
was
say
going to
that.
say, got the Tamiya, the big Tamiya Mustang, it actually tells you the mix, doesn't it? 2 colours.
Yes.
So wouldn't you be better off just buying the Gunsy one?
Yeah.
Which has changed the formula of, as we were on about yesterday.
I was going to say, which one? The old version, the new one? Or MRP's green I like as well, the RAF interior green.
They do them as well with interior colours. They do the US and the RAF ones.
Because to be honest, the difference between, like, if you want to go down the Tamiya route, XF71, you need to lighten it a bit because it's a little bit too dark on its own. So
he could actually do with telling us what it is he wants the internal green for.
Yes.
Because that would help us then say.
Because the US internal green is totally different to the RAF one.
It is. It is.
I can't remember what you have to mix, but there's. Is it XF4 with something? You do a 50-50 mix, don't you?
Yes, you do. It's XF4 with something else. You're quite right, John. I remember it well, but I can't think what it was.
No, somebody will shout it.
Somebody shout out.
Yeah, somebody will shout it up. Yeah, it's a bit like doing the Soviet turquoise, isn't it, with the 2 guns colours, like the emerald green and the blue. It's a 50-50 mix. So, yes. Yeah, just let us know which what you want it for, really. What aircraft you're doing. And
there you go. Apparently, Andy says it's XF4 with 5 XF5 50-50.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So there you go.
So you've got to do that.
Or
then,
Chris says it's flat green XF3 with XF5 3-2. Oh look, now they're on it. They're fighting about it in the chat. So
that's it. Right. Shall we move on?
Sorry. Right, Lauren says, hi guys, can no longer see for the wood for the trees regarding the 135th scale Sherman. What is currently the go-to brand for Shermans regarding the Normandy 1944.
God. Well, the
Right,
Easy
Phil?
8, the Easy 8 one is definitely like the RFM one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Rifles one. To be honest, the Meng one's really nice. It's not cheap, but it's nice. And if you can get hold of them, the Asuka ones
Yes.
are still across the board really nice kits. Because they do like every version of a Sherman, I think.
Yeah.
So
I have to say, from my point of view, I did like the Rifle model just because the texturing on the metalwork of the casting and stuff like that, I think is the best out there. You know, I know other people say about the tracks and the various bits and pieces could be right or wrong if you're a rivet counter, but
again, though, with the Sherman, it's like which marker Sherman do you want to do?
Absolutely,
because there's a lot of them and different ones. So you know, that would probably decide really what brand you're going for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tricky one to do.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the RFM ones, and like I say, if you can get hold of them, the Asuka ones are really good.
Yeah. The thing is, I think, you know, again, it's that particular one. Luckily, there's so many different types of Sherman out there, but most manufacturers have some one way have done it with them all. So you can pretty much pick whichever Sherman version you want to do. Somebody would have done one, which is the quite nice thing about it. You know, as you say, if you from a kit build point of view, reviewing that Rifle one is absolutely stunning. That's top of my tree at the moment. But you're limited on the versions you can do. So
yeah, there's only two, isn't there? There's only like the 8 and a Firefly that they're doing at the minute. Whether they're gonna obviously there's some more, we don't know yet. We'll see.
We will see. Okay, Peter says, hi team, I've got the Rebel 172nd ME262 for a quick mojo build. It looks fine, but the canopy is awful. Would you polish it first or dip it or the other way round? You will always find, because of scale point of view, 72nd canopies are pretty much crap. It's very, very rare you'll find a really good one. You can go down if you wanted to, and you can get backform ones, which tend to be a bit better because they're more in scale. But when you're dealing with these, and to be honest, I've used one as a temporary one, and this is the real one for it. Because of the scaleness of it, when you look through it, it's a bit like looking through 1918's, you know, glass, you know, sort of, you know, 1800 glass. It's thick, it's quite ripply, it's distorted, it's very difficult to get very, very nice because of purely the scale and the limitations on injection molding and what size you can get out of an injection molded that's small as well. So you are always by that. I don't honestly think polishing it will make much difference. Dipping it might help a little bit. If it's got a little bit of wobble into it, it might just smooth it out a little bit. But polishing it at that, because it's thick, I think that's more the issue.
I'll tell you what, just while you're on, because Nathan's in chat, he's got the Airfix 72nd 262. If he pulls it out and has a look at the canopy on that, because I don't think the canopy is too bad on the Airfix one. Because that's a newer tool. That's only like...
Yeah, I was going to say, looking at the canopy on the little GR3, it's quite clear actually. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, Airfix clear parts in 72nd are pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've not been funny, but obviously the title of what he's got don't help, does it?
What, Ravel?
Yeah. So honestly, I've got this big slab of... I know this is an old kit, but there's a big slab of glass in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crap. It's rubbish.
It seems to be one of those, it'll really wobbly as you're looking through it.
Well, because it's going on Luftwaffe, it's definitely like a 10-footer. It's going at the back of the table, so you can't close up when it's done.
But yeah, obviously it is that thing, you know, the bigger the scales you get, the thinner they can be and all the rest of it. The thing, I say Epic stuff isn't too bad, but some manufacturers, and unfortunately, you know, Revell, they're a bit like Sword.
I bet that's quite an old kit now, though. You know, I wonder what the scale mate says how old that is. That 262.
Yeah.
Anyway, chat, find out, put it up.
Yeah, somebody in chat will do it. They were still talking about Shermans. There you go. Nathan says the Airfix canopy's good.
There you go.
So there you go. So it may be just a Revel thing.
Yeah, probably. I think it's age of the kit, I think, with that, to be honest, because I think it is knocking on a bit.
But honestly, trying to fix it, it's not an easy thing on that scale. Because it is just tiny and it's thick. That's the problem to it. Sometimes, we often talk about that you can improve the clarity is because it might have minor imperfections in it. So by dipping it, you fill them in and you smooth it out, and it's, you know, it gives you a cleaner look through. But when it's just thick and it's awful, there's not a lot you can actually do about that.
You could plunge mould a new one, eh?
You could do. We've tried all of that. It's a nightmare. How many
We have
plunges do you have to do before you get it right?
We have a man to do that for us, thankfully.
Yes, luckily we know a man with the machine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Rob says, good evening, gents. In regards to the 30-second Italeri Tornado, will Matt be doing a pre-order once it's priced up?
We definitely will, and I'm going to ask about that next week, to be honest.
Well,
I did ask last
Hannets-
week.
Yeah, Hannets apparently have got it on their site, haven't they, for 130 quid.
Well, there you go. If they've got a price, then I'll just double check that the price is available from our supplier. And that's like what it should be. And then, yeah, Andy will put a pre-order up. In fact, I can ring up and find out tomorrow, to be honest. It's only Thursday. I keep thinking it's Friday today for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But there you go. Yeah, I can find that out, and Andy will whack a pre-order up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's just bought the Tamiya M51 Super Sherman.
Yes.
What is the correct colour for the tank in Israeli service in the 60s?
Right, you want IDF sand grey.
No, what?
I've got the life colour one. The one I did, obviously, what
Why
we
are you
showed
wet?
you. Yeah, hold on. You've got a friend.
I have got a little friend who's soaking wet. Somebody's been outside, clearly.
Let me just change my cam. Because I painted the base of that one in life colour of one I did, because that's what I had.
Yeah.
And it's IDF sand grey, but you want the sandy coloured one because they do two versions. They do like a more of a muddy grey one, which is that one, but that's for Macabres later on. As I was doing my research, so Vallejo do some IDF colours. AK Real Colour do a set of IDF colours. Obviously, Life Colour do because I've used them. I can't think of anybody else. I bet MiG and AK probably do as well.
Yeah.
I don't think Attacker do. They don't do any Israeli colours. I don't know about MRP if they've got any or anything anybody else. But yeah. But to be honest with you, after using the AK Real colours, they'd probably be a good shot, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay, Bob says, hi Phil, I was lucky enough to locate and purchase an Airfix 1/24 scale Hawker Typhoon teardrop canopy kit yesterday. Are they getting hard to find now?
Yep.
Do you remember a couple of years ago at Telford they were giving them away?
You couldn't give
Literally.
them away. I think I picked one up for 50-something quid at one point on eBay a long time ago, and then resold it obviously because it's me. But yeah, you couldn't give them away, and now obviously they're not available. Every man and his dog wants one.
Yeah, that's it, always the way. Anyway, after completing an absolutely stunning build on your Typhoon, what aftermarket upgrades do you deem necessary or recommend to complete to make a really nice build? What you need is a deburring tool, because everything on there has got the molds are just a smidge out, so there's a seam on everything, and you've got a lot of internal framework because you make it all up the parts inside, and it's quite flashy and stuff, so you need to clean up all of that. So a deburring tool is an absolute must for that, because you can get in amongst it, where obviously if you've got a blade you can't just get in the details. So either something with a nice sharp point, or as I say, just an edge, so you can just clean up all the parts really quickly and easily without having to sand them, because if you sanded them it's going to be a messy, horrible, and it will take you forever. So that would be an absolute must in there. The cockpit wise, honestly, you've got a couple of options. You can get a colour photo etch set for the cockpit. That is a really nice take on it. It's big, so you can see right in it, that's the thing. Fabric harnesses as well, I think they're an absolute must for it, absolutely. And the other big thing is the brass gear for it. So I think Brazen do it, they re-released it, I think I've seen it somewhere, did it. So that is definitely a must for it, because the gear, it's a little bit teetery, so I must admit my one had a brass gear. It got fitted after I completed it, but it does have it on it now, so you know, it just makes it a little bit more beefy. Apart from that, the rest of it is in aftermarket. The kit itself, you don't really want to fiddle around with it. You can display it with the engine, with everything shown and that, all the piping's there, all the bits and pieces. If you want to, you could have a little bit more wiring into it to liven it up. but there's nothing that you would deem it suddenly needs to have it and you should go out. There's loads of bits available for it now, and you can cherry pick which ones you want, but honestly the kit on its own is pretty much everything you need. I think it's just the ease of working on the cockpit, a colour photo etch set in there, it just makes things a lot easier. Fabric harnesses, and these are just because you see it. You know, if you've got it rolled back and you've got the harnesses hanging out of it, it's quite a natural look for it. If you're going to have it all buttoned up and everything as well, which I think is a bit harder because having it open is definitely easier, you know, it's fine as it is. So I don't think it really needs tons and tons of stuff with it. What I don't recommend is trying to put a motor in it, because we tried it with that kit and it didn't work, so we gave up. So yes. Second question is for Matt. Is there any date on the Meng DR1 for an estimated time of arrival?
Soon. I've got no firm date, but I think it's literally just come out.
Yes.
I think. So we should be getting ours soon.
Soon. So
Soon, with a bit of luck.
as I say, they're all on order, so whenever they rack up, and like Matt was saying, you know, did you like it yesterday as well when I was putting the beeps in? Every time Matt, and it wasn't all of them either, some of them I could make seamless, but every time we had a delivery turn up at work, I had to like beep, and I had the Simpsons bloke technical difficulties, so I was putting those in. So yeah, every time Matt had to stop, and that was the thing, because we've had deliveries like even coming today, haven't you? And it's like we didn't even know they were coming. So
yeah, something's turned up today, hasn't it? That was hoping for yesterday, but it turned up today. So yeah. So one of them,
and that is the thing at the moment, like we said, you know, certain things we didn't even know are coming, turn up, and things we're expecting don't. It literally, that is how the world is at the moment. And again, like we were saying yesterday's show, a lot of the stuff that comes in via our bigger importers and stuff like that, they've been held up in various customs and in containers and stuff, so they're a few days behind. And yeah, so but they are coming. That's the thing, is to remember, it is coming, it's just taking a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah, just the thing, I know, like, this is the PM show and stuff, but I've had a few questions about like the Zeros and the F-15s. They are, from when I ordered them, which was what, a month or so ago, month and a half. It's a 3-month lead time from Japan, so you ain't going to see them probably till October, I would say.
Yeah.
The earliest, depending on if there's any delays. So, you know, as soon as they're in, you'll know, because you'll get an invoice for them.
Yes.
That's the way to look at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the thing, the P39s, like Dirk's saying on there, we were due those actually last Friday because we thought the container was in, but it turned out the container's been held up. So it's here, it's just not quite here.
Yeah. And then obviously it's got to be processed at the warehouse Obico before they, you know, we get our shipment as well. So I would say probably another fortnight, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, they are here and they are going to turn up. So bit of patience, people. Bit of patience.
Bit of patience. Okay, Patrick says, just watch your Tempest review. Looks like a really nice kit. However, here we go. I was a bit surprised when you said that with the sheet with all the separate aftermarket bits was a good idea. I remember you feeling exactly the opposite when it was the Tarangas Vigan with all the aftermarket bits sold separately. What's the difference between the two? Is it because the Tempest builds up to a nice kit without the extras and the Vigan doesn't? Or is it something else I'm missing? No, by that I meant was the Tarangas one, you know, which, to be honest, you are going back a few years now. When that got released, it didn't even come with pylons. So it looks a bit odd when you look at the bottom of your model and it's got the places for them, but there's no pylons on it. And then they were, I think when it got reboxed by, who reboxed theirs? Special Hobby?
Special Hobby, yeah.
Yeah. There was some changes made to it. So my point to it is that they offered up a improved or an enhanced tail for it, and for the forward canards, I think it was, and various other bits and pieces you could have as aftermarket. So that's a bit like saying it's got a tail on it, but we can sell you a better one. And I thought, why didn't it just come with a kit? You know, that was my point to the Tarangas one. It's a bit like, here's a pretty good kit, but if you want all the nice bits to make it, but these are structural parts of the actual aircraft, you'd think it would just come with it. You know, don't get me wrong, the Tarangas kit is very, very nice, and their 72nd one is an absolute mint. But it's a bit like when Tamiya turned around and said that they're going to release the F-14, but it wasn't going to come with any weapons. I was the first one to say, whoa, that's crap. You know, because that's like buying half a kit, because who wants to have an F-14 with nothing on it whatsoever? But they were going to do a separate weapon set that came separately to it. But again, they did a U-turn before it got released and said, well, actually, we're going to do it with everything that comes with it, which is fair enough. But that was my point to it. What I was trying to explain with this one is that obviously Edar do 3 tiers of kits. You've got the basic one, which is just like a normal plastic kit. It's got no photo etch, no mask sets. You get a couple of decal options, but it's more like a traditional plastic kit. You get the Profi one, which has obviously got your decals and normally colour photo etch, which in 9 times out of 10, you probably wouldn't need any more either. And then obviously you get the limited ones, which have got usually 10 decal options, and they're usually stunning full colour jobs. You get little bits of resin in there, you get the photo etch, you get the mask sets and all the goodies that come with it. Okay, so that's what I was sort of saying, but I was saying it was quite nice. If you are a newbie to the hobby, you could just build that. Like it says, as a weekend edition, no frills, you know, straightforward. If you're not worried about photo etch, if you don't care about having resin and bits in your wheel wells that you'll never see, then you would just go for that. But what you could do is cherry pick the bits for it. So you could say, I'll just do it as it is, but put an engine in it, just to have it open to show the engine. And to be honest, the engine's absolutely gorgeous for this thing. Or you could do guns, and you can have the guns open and show those. So you could have it like a little diorama of it being reloaded and all stuff like that. So you're not like having to pay mega bucks for stuff that you're not necessarily going to use. Because let's face it, we're all guilty of buying the big like limited edition sets and all the rest of it, and even the Profi packs that have got like 5 or 10 decal options that you'll never use, and they're just sat then in a box. So it is a little bit of a waste of money. So that was my point. But overall, that you can build out the box and you got a fantastic kit. The Tarangas one, it was like, here it is, but it's like half a kit. It's a bit like the Hind. So you know, so again, it is. It's a bit like there's the Hind, you know. It would have been really nice if they'd included that resin 3D printed thing, you know, cockpit. If it came with it, I tell you, they would have done really, really well with that. But then again, it's obviously not in their price point to do it.
Yeah, but you're just missing the point, because it'll be reboxed by Edard with all the goodies.
Well, this is it. It will. It'll come with
Then
all
you'll
of their
all
stuff.
want it, and we'll sell bundles of them, and, you know, everybody will be happy.
Well, this is it. So really what they're doing is the weekend edition.
Yeah, basically, it should say like the weekend
Zvezda's done the weekend edition, or you can have the full Profi one with when it's in an Edard box.
from Edard boxing with nice box art, super decals,
Yes.
and all the some bobs you need, the resin and the.
It'll have all those nice
and
check
stuff.
markings, won't it, John? On behind.
I'll tell you what, they'll do the alien one.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they'll probably do the eagle one as well. You know,
Well,
that's a
what else
nice
is
one.
there? What's super good in John?
Oh, there's the Czech ones, isn't it? There's loads of Czech ones.
The 2 ones, isn't it? It's that eagle they did. It's fantastic. 'Cause it's all the feathers and it's got like the beak and the claws and all of that. That's very clever. I'd say the alien one's very nice, but they've done loads of different tiger ones, haven't they? And various stuff.
Yeah,
So
there's tons, isn't there? I tell you, I will actually be really surprised if Edard.
oh, you know it's going to happen, isn't it? That's just when they did do it, we were like, that's going to be one, because the thing is, Edard have done a hell of a lot for it as well. So
Yeah,
it's
they've
coming.
kind of geared up for them getting the limited edition, blah, you know, for when they can get hold of it.
So I think it's next month all the guns come out for it as well, isn't it? Because it's got the chin guns coming out for it, all the aftermarket stuff. So yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know if we're thinking for next year for what we were discussing? I do actually like helicopters. I'm definitely not still doing aircraft, but to me, like an helicopter's a flying tank. So
Yes.
I would actually be tempted to do one in a said scheme from a certain continent, shall we say? 'Cause they have some cool ones, and I would build that kit. Seriously, I would.
Thing is, there are idiots out there that will buy that sort of stuff and that will fall for it.
Well, for what? What are you on about? What, like you?
Yeah, exactly.
Who didn't wait for it to come out.
I've already pre-ordered you 4 of the Edard ones, even though it's not even.
Yeah, they haven't even told us yet.
Yeah.
Okay, David says, greetings from Western Oregon, USA. Phil, in some of your model kit reviews, you sometimes refer as the plastic of being soft or clunky, as in brittle and flexible. Could you please allude on what do you mean by these terms? Okay, the difference basically is, classic example is this one. So it's very, as you can see, flexible. This stuff is like proper, but when you drop it, it sounds like that. But if you get, he says, busy trying to look round for one. Hold on.
John, drop your Airfix sprue on your table.
Yeah, drop your Airfix sprue, John.
That's quite soft. You'll...
Oh yeah, this is like really soft and soapy. This.
Yeah, that bounces.
Yeah,
It's not
and also,
quite as sort of clunky.
you hear that? It's like, you can hear it's like chinky. This stuff is Hasegawa. It's hard. It's literally really, really rock hard. It's quite brittle. In fact, it cracks. You know, we've all done it, where you've cut off a bit of sprue and it's taken a lump with it. And that's purely because it is what it is. It's very much a case of quite a hard Bristol plastic. And again, the softer ones, you know, it's just that thing about sometimes what glues you use as well. So if you've got a soft sort of sprue, and you can always tell because it's flexible, and like this thing, I had the wing before we put it together, I was doing that with it. You know, you just have to worry sometimes if we're using like Contactia Revel glue, if you've got quite a bit in there, it could eat the surfaces together. So if you've got like wing surfaces and it's too flat, it's not edges as such, but just flat areas, it can actually sort of melt inside and cause divots. So you're better off using like an extra thin glue that's faster drying and stuff like that, purely so it hasn't got time to just heat up, get too hot and end up melting itself together. Chinky plastic is obviously, I always say, is always a little bit better because the surface detail as well always tends to be a little bit sharper. It's the way it's sort of injection molded. If you go back as well to like Trumpeter, back in like the late 90s, 2000s, they used to use really soft plastic as well. And when you looked at the riveting detail, it always looked blurry. The panel lines were always a little bit soft. But Hasegawa's from that same time period in the 90s were always crisp, very, very sharp, hard. All the details were nice. And that is because, obviously, the injection moulding's at a higher pressure as well. And the styrene they use is obviously a lot different to, you know, what the other people are using. And I think sometimes the details just show through a little bit more. So that's what I talk about. So we talk often about it. If you watch, I think I talked about in part 1 on the Hurricane, soft plastic. So I avoided using certain glues and I was using quickset glues instead of like Tamiya normal extra thin, purely because I didn't want to melt anything because it's very, very small parts as well. So yeah, but that's the difference. To be honest with you, this day and age, there's not a massive amount of differences in it. It's just, it's one of those ones where, you know, I quite like working with the harder plastic, certainly from a filling point of view, rescribing, stuff like that. If it's slightly harder when you're rescribing, for instance, you don't tend to take too much out because you can lightly do it. Same with sanding. If it's a softer plastic, you tend to go in there a little bit more. But that's also a thing about learning things with like scribers and sanders. So I wouldn't go near soft plastic with a big P cutter because you're going to make a huge trench in that very, very easily. So I use a thinner, you know, a more delicate, shall we say, scribing tool. And the same thing goes with sanders. Obviously, if it's soft plastic, I'll use a very fine sander. If it's a hard plastic, you can use, you know, obviously a heavier grit sander, just not putting any weight into it, just rubbing it lightly, stuff like that as well. So, yes. What do you prefer, hard or soft? Mrs.
Do you know what? Because I know people like moan about the Airfix plastic, and I actually don't mind it. The softer stuff, I think it's all right to work with.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. It glues really well, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, I mean, I always like the Edouard. That's quite nice.
Which is quite a harder plastic as well, isn't it,
Yeah.
on those? So,
Yeah, they're good quality, don't they? Styrene.
yes. But the thing, again, you know, classic example is that if you've gone back to like late 90s, early 2000s, you'd avoid soft plastics because they were always a little bit iffy with it. But this is soft plastic, obviously, on this one, and the details are absolutely pin sharp, very, very crisp. But that's a soft plastic, you know. So, you know, again, you have to think about getting it out of the mold. soft plastic's easier to get out of a mold than hard plastics. Hard plastic can break, it can be a problem to get out. So again, you know, you get more ejector pins and stuff like that as well to try and clear it. You know, so yes, it's just one of those things. Sometimes I prefer a harder plastic. I've always been a fan of like the Hasegawa type plastics and stuff. Airfix tends to have gone through them throughout the years. Italeri tend to just use that mediocre stuff. Revell's a classic example. Theirs is always that soft stuff, you know. So yes.
Actually, this is an older kit from.
I was going to say that's an old one though, isn't it?
1999, I think this mold's from, and it's actually they do it in really dark green. It's that awful dark green styrene they use, but it's actually quite a nice quality styrene. I just think it's obviously cost cutting exercise that it's gone a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay, right. Chad says, I was wondering if there are situations when it would be advisable to use lacquer paint instead of acrylic paint and vice versa. I had to buy Tamiya acrylics as the shipping costs and shipping time required for the lacquer paints. Me to buy the acrylics. I wanted to use MRP lacquers as they are given great reviews. Again, it's very easy.
If it's got Tamiya, just use self-leveling thinners with it, and it's just like a lacquer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do it that way, absolutely. The thing is, I think, you know, from a point of view of spraying them and everything else like that, as I say, the great thing with lacquer paints is because it's a hot action paint, it's always eating itself, even in the colour cup. You know, if you've got an acrylic paint, because it's not as harsh, you mix them up together. Over time, they sort of separate, you know, and all the rest of it, and it's just not doing much. But lacquer paints are always eating themselves. So when you're spraying them, for instance, even if it's going down the needle, it's still attacking itself because it's aggressive. So it just makes for a smoother finish. So when you spray it, you get less tip dry, less clogging and all the rest of it, because again, it's always working on itself. When you spray it onto the model, as soon as it touches, eat into what's below it because it is what it is. And then within a few minutes, you know, obviously it's gassed off. As my colleague would agree with the wording. Once it's gassed off, it's neutralised and you're left with a nice smooth finish. Okay, but that bit where they're like angry birds in there, giving it some, like lots of little piranhas in your colour cup, they want to go and attack everything they touch. But as soon as that's gone, it's gassed off, they are fantastic and they are lovely and smooth. And the point of view is that most modern paints, and let's face it, so you've got Guns, Aqueous, Tamiya acrylics, the AK stuff, they are all basically alcohol based, which means they can be thinned with lacquer paint. So you've got all of the great things that go along with it. So you can, like I've been spraying these with lacquers and they work absolutely beautiful. They just go down flawlessly. I can't fault them at all. Great coverage, great everything. If you're going back to standalone acrylics, then obviously sometimes you can get trouble with tip dry, you can get trouble with stopping and starting, you can get rough surfaces and that because it's dry by the time it touches the model. So in warmer conditions as well, it can be a little bit more of a problem. But as for fors and againsts and stuff like that, you know, again, I think it's down to personal choice because you could just carry on using acrylics and never have a problem with it. You know, we've all done it. I've gone from enamels to lacquers to acrylics and I'm back to lacquers again these days and going through it like that. Don't know, what do you guys reckon?
Well, reading the thing, I'm just thinking the acrylics are just fantastic for brush painting.
Yeah.
The lacquers are not great at all because they dry so fast. So if you're doing detail painting in cockpits or wheel wells or whatever, then acrylic paints are for me. And I mean proper acrylic paints, not the Tamiya ones, because you're definitely going to need the retarder to brush paint Tamiya acrylics because they're not great for brush painting.
Yeah.
But for me, lacquers is like the main paint jobs. You know?
The only time I'd really use, I think, acrylics in their truer form of it is the weathering. So if I was doing chipping, heavy weathering, things like that, I think working with an acrylic for that layer, shall we say, so you might have like lacquers underneath it as perhaps your metals or a different colour. If I wanted to do chipping effects especially, it's a lot easier to chip with acrylics because it's soft. So you can just hit through it, get down to the chipping fluid, it'll release it and away you go. With lacquers, still does it, but it's bloody hard work. So you need a stiff brush to hammer through it. And also if you leave it too long, it's almost nigh on impossible to get off. So from a weathering point of view as well, sometimes it's easier to weather with acrylics definitely than it is over enamels, because once enamels are dried and cured, they're pretty much there forever.
The thing is with acrylics though and chipping with fluid is if you've got a latex, they tear, they don't chip.
Yeah.
That's the problem I've had with trying to like chip acrylic paint, especially with like model colour and stuff, because of the latex in them. They just tear, they don't chip properly. I think really you're on about pure acrylics like these, aren't you? Life colours.
Yeah.
They'll chip properly with doing the airspray technique, but yeah, the latex, really heavy latex ones, I don't find a brill for it, to be honest.
No.
That's just personal.
As I say, from chipping point of view, I think you can't go wrong with using Tamiya or Aqueous, because they chip quite nicely, or as you say, like life colours and stuff like that. But you're right, obviously if you're going to be going down using, you know, like Vallejo model wares and stuff like that, because they tend to be polyurethane based, which is basically latex, it's very easy to go too far with it and end up taking off an entire thing because it's all glued together. It's like a rubbery finish with it. So, John, what about you?
Personally, my airbrushing's improved tenfold since I switched to lacquers. I'd never go back to using acrylics, not for spraying.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Like Matt said, hand brushing, use a true acrylic. Sort of water-based one, not an alcohol-based one.
Yeah.
But definitely airbrushing, I used to have all sorts of problems I had a lot of model air. And to be honest, I just never got on with that.
No.
Horrible stuff.
I think the biggest thing is that a lot of people, they see almost lacquers as being the sort of, you know, the enemy. It's like the dangerous one. It's flammable. It's, you know, it stinks. It does all these things. Thing to remember is, you know, Tamiya's flammable, and most of us tend to use things like lacquer thinners and stuff like that in them. So it's no different from buying a true lacquer paint anyway. So, and from a health point of view, there's no difference between lacquer paints and acrylic paints. You are still breathing in particles. If you're breathing it in, it just stinks. And the nice thing with lacquers is, if it stinks, you know you need to run your extractor a bit more. You know, with acrylics, you might not even notice it, but it's still airborne. It's still doing everything that, you know, a lacquer paint will do. So from that point of view, you know, from a health and safety note, it is that thing. It doesn't matter what it is. Say, I've got a colleague of mine who's a bloody surgeon, and he's like, when I asked him about it, I got the right act, because he says anything, it's an airborne. You're breathing it in. It doesn't matter what it is. It will have particles into it. That acrylic resin, which is like the painty bit, doesn't matter if it's in with lacquers, acrylic, or water. You're still breathing them in, and that's what you don't want to be breathing in at the end of the day. So yes, cool. So you said he wanted to give MRP lacquers a thing, give them great reviews. They're really, really good. As I say, just be mindful about their greens and stuff. They don't cover very well. This I highly recommend. This is my coverage paint of the year at the moment. I can't believe I only made up like 1 mil, and I tipped 3/4 of a mil back in there. That was amazing to do that. I know it's small, but still blew me away. Anyway, Ed says, Phil, enjoying your hurricane build. Question on part 1. I noticed that you're using Tamiya Instant light green bottle rather than the standard dark green bottle. Any reason for doing this? Or was it just a hand? I seem to remember you saying in another video that using larger amounts of the Instant is basically the same as using the standard. It's slightly different. Basically, the reason I was using the Instant is because the parts on this are very, very small. And obviously, if you're using the normal one, you know, it's probably using the same thing, but you can melt bits. And because this plastic, again, is quite soft on this kit, using the quick set, it's ideal, because literally you just do it, you touch it, that stuff dries probably twice as fast as this one, it's done. Okay, so it hasn't physically melted anything too much around there, because the thing is, if you use like a hot action glue on a soft plastic like this one, I just found, like, to be honest, when the control, I don't know if you've seen it yet, it was part 2 or 3, the control stick snapped off when I was dry brushing it. So when I put it back in, we used it. When I finished with the camera and I was just moving it around, it was really soft. And that's because there's probably a little bit too much glue there, and it's melting the control stick. So it was a case of you could have almost pushed it through because it would have just melted as it went. So you just had to be a little bit mindful on that one as it goes through. But generally, sometimes I prefer to use the quick set on a little kit like this because on the small jobs, it's fantastic. It dries really quickly. You don't have any trouble with melting anything a little bit too much. And it's a nice small work area. If you're doing bigger areas, then obviously I use the green. And if I'm doing even bigger areas, I use the white. And that's why we ended up using the white around the wing section when we put the wings together, because you can brush it all round, you've got time, you line it all up, you give it a push and away you go with it. Yeah, if you'd used the quick set, it'd have been too dry to do it. So really that was the only thing with it. But say they all have their sort of place. I do quite like using the quick set, small little jobs, small little localized areas, because it dries very, very quickly, so you don't have to worry about it. But on softer plastics as well, it's quite nice because you've got less chance of it melting. Do you ever switch between glues?
Well, I do all the time, to be honest. Yeah. I've been using the quick set quite a bit on the helicopter, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's good for tacking stuff to me, to get it to grip, and then you can, you're all right to run your extra thin around the rest of it once it's tacked.
Yeah.
And I find as well, to be honest, when you're putting fuselage off together, I've been using the Revel contactor.
Yeah.
Or the white top Tamiya glue, but I don't mind then ripping around with the extra thin just to grip it, to give it a bite.
Yes.
Before
Yeah.
it sets. They work well in together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I use the Contactia glue, this one, all the time. You would have seen it on the bigger builds we were doing recently, because not only is it a good thick glue, so if you got, like when we were doing the VC10, going around with that, well, obviously I think we used loads, because you can just put it around a big thick one. But like Matt was saying, don't be fooled. You can still go in afterwards with the extra thin over it again, just to seal it all up, and because that will go off, it will get in all those little areas where perhaps the thicker glues haven't gone, and can give you a really nice sort of weld up with it.
Yeah.
John, what about you?
Well, thanks to my colleague sat there, I've actually switched and I'm starting using this stuff now.
To be honest,
I really like this Mr. Cement S.
I'm going to switch to Mr. Cement S and the SP, to be honest, when I've used my Tamiya, because I do actually prefer it. It's just I've got something.
It's the first time I've ever used it, and I do like it.
Yeah.
And it actually, this does smell not too dissimilar to the light green capped Tamiya. So I think it's very similar.
Is that the SP one?
No, that's just the S.
Yeah.
That's just the S.
So
But it's not a dissimilar smell to that one.
Because to be honest with you, I used to use that other one before I went back to using Tamiya. When we couldn't get hold of Tamiya, I went on to using the normal S, and I can't tell any difference. I couldn't actually see any difference between both. They both roughly the same. The SB one is quite nice because I got the black one, although it's just a bit freaky when you're putting that around. It looks like you're giving everything a wash, but
I have seen last few days on social media, there's rumours that apparently Tamiya are stopping that.
right, hold on a minute. That's rubbish. Absolute codswallop, because I found out. I rang up my man yesterday who spoke to his boss, who says, it's the first thing I've heard about it. So it's rubbish, mate. I don't know where that's come from. He says, don't know who started that rumour off, but it's crap. Watch it next week. I'm going, oh yeah, it's true. They're discontinuing it. I've never said what I've
there's a
just
bit where
said.
you see here, I've got a wall of it, then you know it's being discontinued. I've got a few bottles here.
Yeah. Apparently not, unless he's late to the party and they've not told him. But there's a load coming in on a container.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm very surprised. And when I did speak to Ian, the rep yesterday, he was like, "Really?" No, that's coming from the importer, obviously the UK importer. So I wouldn't take that as gospel, shall we say?
Where's that container coming into? Should we go and hijack it just in case?
We're
Well,
like
I've already-
fast and furious.
yeah.
Okay, Clive says, hello Phil and team. Question about hairspray chipping with Hataka orange line paints. Can it be done? What
Yes.
experience have you or the team had with lacquer chipping?
Yeah, I've done it and it works fine.
Yes.
The thing you've got to remember, okay, from what I've learned from hairspray and the chipping fluids, is not to bury it under a load of paint.
you know, you've got to keep your layers so you can get through it. So you can use, like we were saying, acrylics, lacquers, enamels. I don't think it matters. It's how thick you put it on. So the thinner coats you can put on, so the water can penetrate through that layer to get to the hairspray or chipping fluid. It'll chip. But you've got to bear in mind, like from lacquers to enamels to chip in a different way because of the makeup of the paint, and that's where really you want to practice on a buster or some plastic card to see what sort of effect you want.
Yes.
Because they will give you different effects.
A couple of times I've done it, I've found actually it's not so much like a heavy chipping effect. It's like more like a worn paint effect, which is quite nice.
It's very very controllable, especially for aircraft. If you're doing like wing roots, chipping back to metal and stuff, it's a lot more controllable with the lacquers than I would say with acrylics. So yeah, and leading edges and stuff, because really with aircraft they don't chip like say a piece of armor would, or you know, it's different chipping, isn't it? So the lacquer route, I'd say, is probably a better way to go. You'll be more in control. But
the thing is, say we did it on the container time before, and I am going to do another video on chipping as well. The thing is, I like about using the lacquers is it's hard work. As in that, you know, I've got a couple of brushes which are really stipply, so you really go at it and it comes off really slowly, and it gives you far more control than, like we were saying before, if you'd use it like with a polyurethane, because if you do that in one push with the brush, it just takes that entire swipe off. Yet with this, it's little bits and it's really sharp edges and it's very in scale chippy stuff. So that's the thing is I like about it, is going through lacquers, because it's hard work, you know.
Well, that building that I was doing, remember when I was doing online? Oh, that's chipping with lacquers. I think that was Tamiya paints, to be honest, but it's thin with lacquer paint.
Yeah.
And you can see you can get, the thing is you get in scale chips, which is what you want, rather than just tearing and ripping off. So that's what I do like about using the lacquer paints for it, because like I say, it's more in scale, I think.
Yeah. Are you not doing any broken glass in that?
And there you go. No. I tell you, I've got scaffolding.
Oh right, it's a doer-upper, is it?
Yeah, it's a doer-upper. There you go. That's hairspray. Well, I think that's chipping glue, but I think that's the heavy one and not the worn. It was one of the AK ones, so you can get a different. Like I say, it's how it brings it off. But again, it's quite a nice effect. But for a wall, it's perfect. But that would be well overdone for an aircraft.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So again, it's what you're going to use for and what you're doing it on. So. Yes, there you go.
Very nice. It says he's currently working on the Armour Hobby Hurricane. Love the model. I'm going to be attempting the hairspray chipping. He's never done it before. Again, classic example, like we were just saying, really, is that to keep it in scale as well. So, you know, if you're doing it over lacquers on a wing root of a 72nd Hurricane, you want it to be very light. You know, you don't want to be taking off that entire section so it's bare metal all there. And that's what tends to happen if you're using like a polyurethane and stuff like that. So, as I say, especially if you're new to it, highly recommend do it on a buster first. Get a feel for it before you commit to coming in onto your actual model with it. So, yes. Question for John. What is the difference between the MiG-21 MF early and late?
I've just read this question and thought, damn, I wish I'd seen that earlier because I could have researched it properly.
Do you want us to come back to you and do the next one? Because times are knocking on a bit.
I would imagine it's mainly like avionics.
Probably, because they're all updated back in them days, weren't they, all the time? So, I don't know myself, I must admit. That's well above my pay grade.
I will clarify that, but I would pretty much imagine it's nothing sort of too much external. It's probably like avionics, electronics, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Thomas says, "Hello all. What do you do for references on scribing rivet lines on models that only have engraved panel lines on the model, like some Revel kits? Is this the only option to find reference photos and hope the whole plane is in the photos?" To be honest with you, a classic for that is when I did the Bear. The Bear was really, really difficult to get reference photos of it. So what I ended up doing was searching the net for photos of the real thing. and that's where I took my cue from it. And obviously the top side is very difficult because there's loads of plane spotters taking a photo of it like that, but very few of them have got one looking down on it as from the top. So it's very, very difficult. Around the back ends and everything else, again, very straightforward. You can do it. Other times though, like when I did the 190, I actually managed to find riveting guides online. And it shows where all the rivets are, so I just literally, right, there they are, and we just copied them. And as I say, it was sort of free-handed with that one as well. There's always going to be a little bit of whiffery in there because different ones are puttied over, some of them are sort of domed and are more in your face and various things. But a lot of the time it's just a case of see if you can find a guide to start with, that there is a riveting guide to it. HGW do rivets for it. So for certain aircraft, so what you can do is have a look on their website and then get a photo of their guide, and it will show you where the rivets go as well. So that's how we ended up doing the FW190 as well. But yeah, generally I just tend to just have a look around, see if you can find something off of the old Google image searches. If there's no good in there, just have a look around some walk around photos and you can roughly get an idea of where they all are on there. And when I do my riveting, I normally have photos of the real thing up in that area, so then you can just copy where they are there. 9 times out of 10 they're symmetrical, so if it's on one side it's probably on the other, so you can just go through it like that. You guys?
Oh god, riveting. I can never see the wood for the trees doing riveting. I just make it up, to be honest. You do though, you get scale plans of them and it's just like, I think you've got to break it into sections, haven't you? Because you really can't rivet it like a real plane would be, because like you said with the bear, it'd just become a mess.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? So you have to sort of take certain aspects of it and have the impression of rivets. Yeah,
again, the tail section is one of those examples. If you look at photos of the real thing, it's just all rivets. It would just be literally everything's riveted because there's not a square inch that isn't got a rivet on it on the back end of a bear. But if you used to do that, it'd look awful. So, yeah.
Ping, ping, ping.
I thought I was on silence. That's not bad going. So yes, is it one of our brethren?
Probably.
Yeah, because my phone's just pinged as well.
It may be the rear team.
Yeah, they're saying it's 9:10. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, they're trying to send me to Edar, but it won't load through. So I don't know what they're doing. Is it a hind? Is that what they've done? Oh no, October. It's the releases. Nathan's put the releases for October. I've got that one. Okay, Brian says, hi guys, when spraying black-based coats for under AK Extreme Metals, is LP Paint's lacquer paint better than Tamiya acrylic? Honestly, honestly, I don't think there's any difference whatsoever from a usage point of view, but for ease of spraying and just putting it down, Tamiya lacquers are fantastic. It gives a beautiful gloss finish. Very easy, very, very straightforward. But as for differences, as in putting anything over them, I don't think there's any difference whatsoever.
No,
but just ease of spraying, LP satin black, which is LP5, which is I've used gallons of it now for everything. It's beautiful, very nice colour. Michael says, good evening. Sorry?
I said it self-levels nice.
It does. It's really, really good stuff. I love it. Michael says, good evening guys, another great show. Phil, a few weeks ago you got in some black CA glue and said you hoped to do a review. We did. We used it on whatever I was building at the time. Oh, the black CA glue. Sorry, no, I haven't done it yet. That's that one that you sent me, Matt.
I've tried it.
Yes?
Actually, it's all right. Do you know what? It takes a bit of bite it takes a few minutes to bite, so you can manoeuvre. But it's actually okay. And what I like about it is I can see where you've put your glue, so you get a bit of debonder on a little brush. You can just clean up the excess, and away you go. Yeah,
to be honest, I haven't even touched mine yet. I haven't even opened it. I've used the other one. I've used this magnet one loads, and it works really, really well. But I must admit, I haven't used that one yet.
Do you know, because of the hassle sticking this front glass piece on, I've actually used it on that, and then just cleaned up the excess with some debonder and a glue, and it's fine. It's pretty solid.
I've heard people say it's meant to be easier to sand as well, isn't it? The black one.
I don't know, because I just cleaned it up with debonder, but it's just nice because you can see where you've put your glue.
Yes.
it helps. It's like the black SP glue, isn't it? You can
Yeah,
see
you
where
see
it's
where it's
tracking
gone.
it going, and
Yeah.
I can see I can see the point of it. To be honest, especially if you're doing photo etch and all stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's definitely got a place. I'll be honest. From what I've used a little bit, we need to try it a little bit more before we decide whether we're going to stock it or not. But yeah, I think it's got more pros than cons at the minute.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'll start giving it a whirl because I must admit I
Yeah.
sort of forgot about it. I've been using this thing all the time, but yeah, definitely I have to give that a whirl.
Yeah.
Andy says the internal green for the Edard Mustang, the conversion from the call out looks bright. Not sure if it's right. Oh well. Be careful with that one, people. Hello, gentlemen. I'm going to do some hairspray chipping over an aircraft. Is there any problem with simply spraying with cheap hairspray directly from the can?
Do you know what? That is the best stuff to use. The cheaper, the better, because if you use the firm old stuff, it don't come off.
As the smart price.
That's the stuff you want. The cheapest, crappiest hairspray you can get.
Yes.
Because it will just give up straight away when you put water near it.
Yeah.
That's what
absolutely.
Yeah.
But as for spraying it, the only trouble is if you were doing like a small model like this and you do that, you've now covered pretty much all of it. So if you wanted to do it in a more localized area, you can just pop it on with a brush. So I tend to decant it into a cup and then just brush it on. It's probably the easiest way. But if you were doing some bigger model and you want to do the entire thing, like when I do the ISO container, you could just like spray an area and away you go. So
Thing is, though, don't forget you can decant that straight into your colour cup or your airbrush.
yeah, that's right. You spray it straight into your colour cup and then spray it from that.
Yeah.
You'll smell lovely. You have a lovely smelling airbrush.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, last question then. John says, how would a lacquer paint perform if you were to wait for the paint to gas off completely before you sprayed it?
No, it wouldn't. It'd be dry.
Yeah, you don't. When we say gas off, it's the thinners, isn't it? Gassing, going away, driving. It's the solvent drying off. So technically, if you had it gassed off, you would know it. Don't get confused with from a can, because when you decant from a can, you've got the propellant, and that's what's going ballistic inside. When you look in and you see it all fizzing around, that's the propellant giving off and releasing from it, isn't it?
Yeah. No, this is the thinners that's evaporating. That's what we mean by gassing off.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you don't want that to happen before you spray it, because
No.
you won't be spraying anything.
Trust me, your airbrush will just go.
Yes. You'd have dry paint in the bottom of your airbrush.
Yes, you definitely would. Right, okie dokie then, guys. We've gone there. Look.
Hold on. You're jumping the gun.
Yes.
You've got an auction to go through and show people.
Oh, right. Okay, hold on. I thought I had it up here. Didn't I? If I moved it. Hold on, let me bring it back.
So let's just run through. We've got an auction on Sunday at 7 o'clock for who didn't see yesterday's show. And what we said yesterday has changed today. So Andy's put up all the lots. So if you want to pre-bid, if you can't see us on Sunday or whatever reason, PM Andy. Don't put it on the thread what you want, so people don't know what you want to bid. So just PM Andy of how much you want to bid and what lot it is, and then he'll take note of it. And then when we do it on Sunday, we can, we'll know where we're at with it. So,
oh, sorry, it dropped to the bottom. Hold on. So
That's
this
all
is
right.
what we got in here so far.
yeah. Well, the plan is this one is for the aircraft guys, to be honest. So first, I can't remember how many lots of Nathan stuff that we've had and we said we'd do for him.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of PM stuff at the bottom. Okay, and then in a couple of weeks we're going to do a mixed one. So we've got a bit of John stuff that we've got some armour, we've got some cars, and it'll be probably like a proper normal auction. So we're even going to do that in 2 or 3 weeks' time. But this one, we're just going to do Sunday, so it's just all aircraft. So if there's anything that takes your fancy, there you go, look, the original.
Look at that, the original one.
That's an original, that's not the Reeboks, that's the proper original one.
You don't get the record.
No, you should really, shouldn't you? They should
You think, because I think that's bad that they put that on there, because you think you get the record, but you don't.
Yeah, and oh look, one of them.
And, oh look, who knew? One of those legendary kits.
Rare as hen's teeth.
I say you.
Hey,
Good
John's
luck
even
on
got
that
a bit
one.
on it. You don't like tornadoes.
Very nice.
Yeah, so anyway, they're up. Like I said, PM Andy,
what you'd like to bid on it and what lot number it is, so he can make a note of it for Sunday. So there you go.
What will happen is on the obviously it'll be up on the main site, but I will put the link for the show for the auction will be in here as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll sit in the top here as well and all the rest of it. But it will be on the main one for you guys who've got 2 monitors and all the rest of it. You can just have one on one, one on the other. But I'll put them here and on the other one. So it's all in one place with that one.
So again, if you just read what Andy's put up, that's how it's going to go, as in who's going to invoice you and all the other stuff, because it's all in there. So just bear that in mind when you're bidding.
Yes, that's all right. I'll be on the wine. It'll be fine. Hey, look, I've been good. I've been on Sprite tonight. I've been holding. I'm holding out for the weekend.
So, what, Sprite and gin?
Mm-hmm. No, literally, it's just Sprite. To be honest, I'm out of gin.
Oh, no. John will send you some from his gin club. I bet he's got bloody bottles of this stuff.
Yeah, you must have tons of it since the lockdown. Or he's drunk it all since the lockdown, one or the other.
Hey, how many bottles you got of your gin?
I don't know. I think every time my youngest comes down, he nicks a bottle when he goes back, I think.
I should lock it away. Keep it locked up.
Do.
In the gin cellar.
The gin cellar, yes. Very nice. Right, okay then. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. An absolute pleasure as always. I'll be with you tomorrow for the Friday catch-up show. And you get the next part of this little guy, which will probably get you just about into paint. I don't think you get quite as far as we are here. And then tomorrow I'm going to carry on with that one. We're going to get the camo onto it. Hopefully we'll get the decals onto it. And then over the weekend I'm working as well. So we've been pushing through with that one to try and get him finished off as we make our way through. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, gentlemen. Pleasure as always. Thank you for all your help. Thank you to all you guys in the actual live chat. I know we haven't spoken too much in there because we've been busy, but hopefully Nathan and Andy have kept you busy in there. I did see him occasionally pop along. Bless. Right, thank you very much for watching, guys. If we're all done, we'll call it there. We will see you soon. Say good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Bye. Oh, I've got to find the off button. It's here somewhere. See you later, guys. Bye.
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 There we go.